Hi everyone and welcome to our interview. Today we're talking about something that many people find interesting, scary or even confusing. Designer babies. We want to explain what this means, how to science works, what is possible today, what is not possible, the good things, the risks, and also the difference between designing a baby and cloning. So, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for inviting me. I am happy to explain all of this.
Great. So, let's begin with the science because many people hear the word CRISPR but don't really understand what it means. Okay, so can you explain in a easy way what is CRISPR Cas9? Because when I first hear it, I thought it sounds like something from a science fiction movie. So, how does it actually work and what is so important?
CRISPR-Cas9 is basically a gene editing tool that allows scientists to cut DNA in a very precise way. CRISPR uses a small piece of guide RNA that researches for a specific DNA sequence, like a GPS. When it finds a correct spot, the Cas9 enzyme works like scissors and cuts the DNA. After that, scientists can remove a mutation, fix it, or insert a new piece of DNA.
So, it's really like cut and paste but inside a living cell?
Exactly.
And how is this different from the older gene therapy methods? Because I know those exist before CRISPR.
Older gene therapy usually added new DNA into a cell, but it didn't cut or edit the original DNA. CRISPR gave us much more control and accuracy.
Wow, that makes sense. It's like the difference between editing a document and just adding a note on the side. Now let's talk about what is actually happening today. People online always talk about designer babies like choosing eye color, height, intelligence and all that. So, I want to ask you honestly. Can we do that? Does it exist? Why do people talk about it so much?
The truth is that designer babies do not exist legally. We have to understand the difference between two types of editing. Somatic editing, editing cells in a living person used to treat diseases. Germline editing, editing embryos, eggs, or sperm so the change is passed to future generations.
So, the second one is the designer baby one.
Yes, germline editing is the one that could create a designer baby.
And has anyone done it?
Only one case is known. In 2018, a Chinese scientist named He Jiankui edited the embryos of twin girls to make them resistant to IV. Was extremely controversial, considered unsafe and illegal. He went to prison. No country allows gene editing for choosing traits like intelligence or beauty.
And what about therapy versus enhancement? People always mix those up.
Therapy fixes diseases. Enhancement tries to improve traits like making a child stronger, taller, smarter, or with different physical features.
So, right now, we only use gene editing for therapy in adults, not for designing babies.
Exactly.
Now, let's move to the positive side because some people say this technology could actually help a lot of families. For example, families that carry serious genetic disease. How could CRISPR help them? Could it really eliminate a disease forever?
Yes, if a family has a single gene disease like cystic fibrosis, Huntington's disease, or sickle cell anemia, CRISPR could theoretically fix the mutation in the embryo. If the change is made in the germline, the disease wouldn't pass to future generations.
So it's not only helping one baby, it helps the entire family line.
Right.
That sounds very powerful. And where does PJD fit into this? I know couples use it during AVF.
PGD or pre-implantation genetic diagnosis is used to test embryos, not edit them. Parents can choose healthy embryos before pregnancy. CRISPR will be used when all embryos had a mutation and there's no healthy option.
So CRISPR will be like a next step when PJD alone can't solve the problem. Okay, now the complicated part, ethics. There are many questions people have. For example, who gets access? Will only rich people be able to use it? Will this create a bigger gap in society? And what other concerns are there?
There are several big concerns. 1. Equity. If only wealthy people can edit their children's genes, society becomes more unequal. 2. Slippery slope. We start with treating diseases, but later people want to design appearance or intelligence. 3. Eugenics. This is the idea of choosing superior traits. Who decides which traits are better? 4. Unknown risk. Editing genes might cause unexpected changes later, and those changes pass to future generations.
And that's scary because we don't really know what could happen many years later.
Exactly.
So, this is why many scientists say we need strict rules before using germline editing.
Yes, strong regulations are essential.
Now, other thing people confuse is cloning. They hear designer babies and think it's the same thing as cloning. Can you explain the difference between them in simple words?
Sure, gene editing changes specific DNA sequences. Cloning makes an identical copy of an entire organism, like Dolly the sheep.
So, if you clone someone, the DNA stays the same. But if you edit, you are actually changing the DNA.
Exactly, there are different technologies with different goals.
And cloning is the only relevant because people worry about creating humans, right?
Yes, but cloning and gene editing are not the same thing.
To finish, I want to ask your personal opinion with everything we talk about the science, the benefits, the risks. Do you think we should use gene editing on human embryos?
I think we should continue researching because the medical benefits are huge. But I believe germline editing should be used only for prevention serious diseases, not for enhancement, and it must be very carefully regulated.
Thank you so much for explaining everything in a simple and a clear way. I think many people will understand this topic better after this interview. This concludes our talk about designer babies. Thank you for watching.